crack myself up. I still haven't found my first Blanton's. That's different. I really like that. They're like together, like peas and carrots. That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Pechaud's or Pechaud. This is not what I expected. How's it going? I gotta move stuff around. I'm all crowding myself here. And this was too low. I left the price tag on it, but I did it for a reason. How's it going? It's Thursday. Paul's watching. Hey, Paul. How are you, sir? I'm glad you're with us. It is Thursday, and it's time to do this. Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening. I hope you're having a leisurely time at work. All right, let's get into it here. Old Granddad. This is an age-old product. It was around before Prohibition. It was created by Raymond B. Hayden and named after his grandfather, Old Granddad, Basil Hayden Sr. That's Basil Hayden's likeness right there on the bottle, and it's the same on the 114. All right, what am I missing? You're missing that you didn't open it before the Bourbcast like you're supposed to. Yeah, I know it. It's been a busy week. I've had a lot going on. Like I said the other day, life comes at you fast, and it's still coming at me. All right, I've always got it. The bourbon has been in production since the 1800s. Good night. Including during Prohibition, when it was produced by the American Medicinal Spirits Company, pharmaceutical company, is medicinal whiskey. There you go. It's part of their Olds collection. Old Crow, Old Tub. I'd show you an Old Tub, but I just finished one not too long ago. One of my favorites, Old Overholt. You know I love Old Overholt. Sorry. That's the 114. That's the OHLQ that I just freaking love. This is so good. Still my favorite pour. So it's part of that tradition. Old Granddad currently released in 3 different proofs. They had an 86, they dropped it down to 80. And then there's the bonded, which is 100 proof, and then the 114. While this is not anything really that's changed over the years, a reviewer that I read said that they liked the newer bottle that they got better than the older bottle. I don't think they've changed anything. It could just be his bottle, could be his storing techniques. I don't know what. This retails for $24.99. It has a mash bill of 63% corn, 27% rye, and 10% malted barley. This is considered a high rye. If you compare it to other ryes or other bourbons with that amount of rye, that's a high rye. 27% is high. Normally anything over like 15, 18% is considered a high rye, and this is a very high rye. All right. Let's give it a snort. Okay, so very nice. Actually, this is a fresh crack, so it's going to have some ethanol on it, and it does. It's a little bit astringent. Bottled in bond, which means it has to have been made in a single distillation period, bottled under like a government protected warehouse for at least 4 years, and it has to be 100 proof. Okay, now I'm getting those vanillas. That's actually really nice. This is traditionally a well drink. Whenever you get an old fashioned at a bar, I would bet you at least half of the time you're going to get Old Granddad. I'm willing to bet it. I had that at Japs in Cincinnati. They actually ran out of the Old Granddad, and I had them do larceny, and that was actually pretty tasty in an old fashioned. And then there's a bar here locally, the Bourbon Affair, and I asked them, what's the drink that you put in, what's the whiskey you put in your old fashioned? Old Granddad. Why? Because it's good, has a nice flavor, and it's cheap. It's $25. Yeah, just a lot of your typical notes, a really nice cinnamon on there, some vanilla, caramels. There's a bright fruit note, that's the rye. And the barley. The barley's 10%. That's actually not a low amount of barley either. little bubble gum. That's always funny when I get that. That could be kind of an offshoot of the vanilla. Yeah. A lot of the typical notes that you would be looking for in any bourbon. It's got a sweet nose to it. It's not, I mean, the astringency has gone away. All that ethanol is it's just gone away. It's just a really nice nose. All right, let's dig in. Really nice mouthfeel. Took a minute for the bloom to really start to hit. For 100 proof, it doesn't act like it. At least not at first. On the palate, when you're looking for that bloom, that burn that starts in the center and goes out or wherever it might go, this one didn't really do that. Just kind of sat there. And then, as I was getting ready to allow it to escape my palate, that's when it started to present a little bit more of a bloom, particularly on the back of my tongue. That's not where the flavor was, that's where the bloom was. It coated the whole tongue. It's got a really nice viscosity to it. Let's do it again. Some of the darker notes, I'm going to say it's got a little chocolate in it. Maybe a dark prune or what's the other one? Dates. Definitely has, it's not a sweeter flavor on the palate. The nose betrays a sweetness, but the palate is not sweet. Definitely a little bit on the darker side as far as the flavors go. A little darker profile. Really nice kind of a, I don't know, a dark honey type of color to it. Some tobacco notes. It's not a sweet pour. If you're looking for something sweeter, this isn't it. That doesn't mean that this shouldn't be enjoyed. This is actually quite good. All right, let's go to a little water test. Just a little bit. We got a few things we're doing tonight, so I don't want to go too crazy. My friend has threatened to go fishing without me. I told him to stay and drive me, and he said no, so I guess I'm not going fishing. Bill's watching. Hey, Bill. We're doing Old Granddad. We're just getting into the water. The flavors I got off of that were like a dark chocolate, maybe some dates, some tobacco. Definitely not a sweeter pour. It's sweeter on the palate or on the nose than on the palate for sure. Really nice body to it, and it doesn't act like it's 100 proof with that burn, that bloom. All right, this is with a little bit of water. See what this does. See if it opens it up any. A little bit. Brought those cinnamons back out a little bit. I won't say it went into the vanillas. It didn't bring any of that back out. But it did bring some of that cinnamon back out and something else. There's a slight citrus there that wasn't there before. That's nice. I'm not going to complain. Me complain? No. Okay. Me likey. Me don't lovey. Me likey. It's okay. I tend to like the sweeter notes on the palate. I tend to like those caramels and those vanillas and that stuff. It's just a preference of mine, and this didn't give me that. I like the dark notes, but normally when I get those dark notes like the dates and the tobacco, I like them to be in something just slightly more complex. So I have a little bit of this on one side and a little bit of this on that side, and you just kind of blend them together. And no, I like a sweet pour, like a Michter's is a sweet pour. I had that the other day, and I let somebody else try it, and or actually I suggested that they get some, and they did. First thing they did is put an ice cube in it. Oh, really? It's Michter's. Come on. All right. So the last thing for this one is to put it on a little bit of ice. See how it does there. All right. Fire one. I'm gonna feel this. This is the first thing I've had to drink since Sunday. I was ill on Sunday, and I thought, you know what? When you have a cold, what better can you do than to do a couple of shots of bourbon? Didn't work. Monday, I was sick as a dog. I ended up taking a nap. I never nap. Sunday or Monday, I sure did. That's the first time I've napped for, well, probably since the last time I was sick. All right. It's got to be cooled down now, right? I did bring my spoon. So I don't have to stir with my finger. But there's other things happening tonight, too. So, and I got to tell you what's going on next week, and I don't remember. I got to look at the database before we go. Yes, I keep a database. I'm old. My memory's not so good anymore. All right. And I didn't look. Sweetens up on ice, actually quite nicely. Brings in more of those cinnamons and caramels. Everything that I didn't get sweetness on when it was neat, I'm getting on the ice because it mutes the flavors. And it diluted it just ever so slightly, but not enough to make that much of a difference just with that much time on ice. Yeah, those cinnamons are popping now. Very nice. Darker caramel. Again, you still got that tobacco note and the dates and that type of thing, so anything sweet is going to be tempered with something a little bit on that bitter side. And it's there, but the caramel's a dark caramel. Make sure I'm not, oh, I'm missing some stuff. I'm sorry. Landon's watching. Hey, how you doing? Larry's watching. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining us. Now, okay, finish this. My dad used to do that. He used to put a beer bottle or a glass like this up to his lips and act like he was wringing it out. I always thought that my dad was not somebody who was very socially savvy, but occasionally he was really funny. And I like to think that that he's left some of his better parts with me, and I hope that I'm leaving some of his better parts with my kids. I was telling them the other day that, I mean, he'd just be bizarre for no reason at bizarre times. Like, he was with my sister one time, and they went through the drive-thru at Wendy's, and they were ordering chicken nuggets. And the woman at the drive-thru window asked what kind of sauce they wanted, and he sang it. He went, barbecue! Just out of nowhere. All right, just got to have a perf somewhere, right? There it is. Golly. I know. I've told you that I was going to open them up beforehand, and I just didn't do it. It was a busy day. I found out. So for the last few days, let me give you the full lowdown. The last few days, I've had this stink in my car. It's not a car, it's a Tahoe, but I've had this stink. And it smelled like beer. And I'm like, what in the heck is this? And I, like a week or two ago, I had a whole truck full of firewood that a friend gave me. Pine wood mostly, and I brought it back, and there was the smell of pine in my truck for a few days. And And I had put it down on a tarp, so I took the tarp out of the truck and the smell was gone. But then just a couple days later, all of a sudden, the smell of beer in my car. Now, on Monday, I had a beer. Beer. And I drank the whole thing at the restaurant. No chance for me to spill beer in the truck. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's that pine sap. Maybe I got it on something else and that's like getting bad or fermenting or something. I don't know what it was. I had no idea. Well, finally today, it's Thursday. I first noticed the stink on Monday. Monday night, I think. And I found out tonight that a friend of mine had left like a half gallon of apple cider in the truck. And whether it fermented and blew or whether pressure from driving or whatever, it blew. It like exploded all over the back of the truck. There was like dried cider everywhere. On the carpet, on the seats, on the back of the chairs, on the door, everything. It was everywhere. Well, I am really lucky because the guy who left the cider back there also just happens to own a carpet cleaning company. So he's up there right now cleaning the carpets in my truck. So anyway, yeah, apple cider stanks if you leave it in your truck and it explodes and gets all over everything. It's like you know, beer smells fine until you pour it on a fire. Just or until somebody pukes it. Or until it's stale. It's been on somebody's floor for a day. And that's kind of what it smelled like, was stale beer that people have danced all over for 4 hours in a wedding reception. And puked on. All right, see if I'm missing anything. Quinn's watching. Quinn, how are you, buddy? Yeah, he promised me a trip to his favorite drinking hole. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not going to tell you where it is. It's a secret. All right. So this is the Old Granddad 114. I have 3 bottles of this, and I've never opened one of them. Why? Because I was waiting for tonight. To be truthful, I was waiting for tonight to try these 2 together. And I'm waiting for a minute here and chatting and being stupid because I want to clear my palate just a little bit. And I didn't bring anything down here to do that with, but I want to clear my palate before I start the 114 because a lot of people really love the 114. And here's the thing. They are the exact same. There's no difference in the mash bill. There was a rumor for a while, I think propagated by Jim Beam, that they added rye to the 114 to soften it some. No. That's not true. The mash bill on the 114 is the same as the Old Granddad at 63% corn, 27% rye, a high rye, 10% malted barley. The difference is this is $24.99, this is $32.99. Now, on the sticker here it says $31.99, so it tells you it went up in price. Bastards. But they're the exact same, it's just this is 100 proof, bottled in bond. This is 114 proof. There's no age statement on this, so it has to be at least 4 years, which ain't that different from that. So we'll see. But you know, the high proof versions of different things, Elijah Craig, Larceny, even the Buffalo Trace products that turn into George T. Stagg and Stagg, which is now just Stagg and not, used to be Stagg Jr. and all those things. The higher proof, and you've heard me several times say, golly, I wish it was a higher proof. I think Brothers Bond was one of those. I had the 80 proof. I thought it was okay. It's like, gee, I wonder what this would do if it was just a little higher. And same thing with age. You know, Nulu, I thought, golly, this is really tasty. I wonder what it would do if it had a little more age to it. Well, this one doesn't have that much more age than this one. It's no age statement. I'm going to guess around 4 years. The other rumor was that it was going to be discontinued. This was one that was propagated for a while, that 114 wouldn't be available. And writers were all but confirming it. Well, now you can find it just about everywhere. It's one of the most popular products, and people talk about 114 all the time. When I started talking about doing this Bourbcast, I had people commenting and saying, 114 is really good. They didn't talk about this one. They talked about that one. So, there you have it. So here, I'm going to try this for the first time I hope my palate is clear. Clear, that's with an L. just, just being sure. Just being cautious. All right, here it is. Old Fashioned 114. Seven percentage points makes a big difference. That is fantastic. That has the presence on the palate that I like. The flavors are popping. It's not dark like this was. Boy, that's fantastic. They're the exact same. That's the part that blows me away. This one had darker notes of dates and tobacco and chocolate and stuff like that. This one, without any help, no water, no ice, no nothing, has got a slightly sweeter profile, and it's a lot more complex. Golly. I could have never guessed that. I just thought this would be a higher proof version of that. And essentially, if you're into science and chemistry, it is. But I ain't got no degree. I just like it. All right. I didn't give it the nose test, and I didn't think it was necessary, but now I will. The nose is not that much different. Those typical notes, the caramels, vanillas, cinnamons. Less ethanol than there was on this one when I first opened it. Again, a great nose. Both of those have great nose. The 114 is no different, really. Maybe. All right, get back to it. Okay. There are some similarities. But the differences are that where this one is dark, this one is both. So if you want something more complex, as I talked about before, you heard me say that. Dark notes of dates, chocolate, tobacco. This one has those same things, but also parts of cinnamon and vanilla and caramel and a little honey, some toffee, which bridges that strange caramel and chocolate note. That toffee kind of puts the two together. A little honeycomb in there. So you've got that earthiness of the honeycomb as well as the sweetness of honey. Maybe that's what I'm detecting actually is the honeycomb and not the honey. It's fair to say both. It's fair to say both. It fits. And that's what I'm getting out of that. That's really nice. It surprises me how nice that is, how much I like it. All right. Did I mention I haven't had anything to drink since Sunday? I'm going to be a cheap date tonight, I'll tell you what. Brian's watching. Hi, Brian. I hope you didn't see that. Cheap date. I don't want to put that back in there now. Okay. 114 with a little water on it. Thanks, Paul. He's laughing at me. I'm not going to tell you that water did anything spectacular for this. No, it's pretty good the way it was. So water's not going to be something that I'm going to recommend. All right. Okay. You know, I'm just going to use the same ice sphere that I used before. It's the same product. And then if I can stay awake long enough, I'm going to do a cocktail. Cheap date. All right. I have never mastered the way bartenders use this kind of spoon. There's supposed to be a way that you're able to keep like the concave part of the spoon on the inside at all times and just manipulate it. And I have not figured that out. And I look forward to the opportunity to learn how to do that. I did put in an application today at a bar, hoping I can bartend. They're never gonna hire me. But still, it's a fun little pipe dream. All right. So here's the 114 on a little bit of ice. And plastic. That's like that takes me back to the time that I drank a little bit of Oak and Eden. You know, I don't like Oak and Eden. That rapid process for aging. The last swig I had of Oak and Eden, you know, Oak and Eden, they take the bottle and then they age it for like 6 months or something like that, and then they toss it in the bottle with a stave. And they have the impression that if they put this in the bottle with a stave that it's going to continue to age. Ain't how it's done, yo. That's not how you age bourbon. And that's how they do it. Well, when I first opened it, it tasted like it came out of a dumpster. It was terrible. Over time, the flavors did tend to mellow out, and it wasn't as bad. But towards the end, as I had my last pour out of it, my tongue got coated with pieces of wood from the spire that they put down in it. That is really, really unappetizing. I don't want pieces of wood from a spire when I have a drink. And that plastic that just came out of this, I don't know where the heck that came from, but yeah, it ruined the entire experience. It might have come from this, and I don't know where it came from. I don't have any idea. Could have been there from the last time I used this glass. I have no idea. I'm afraid. Yeah, like on water, I'm not going to tell you that it added anything. It cooled it down. If you like a cooler drink, okay. I would tell you the 114 is better on ice than the bonded because, you know, 7% more alcohol, so it's just going to hold up a little bit better. All right. Last thing. Second to last thing. Let me get ready here, and I'll tell you what's coming up next week. There and there and there and there. Okay. So I'm going to make a drink because a lot of people talked about this. And I opened up the wrong thing. That's fine. That's fine. So this, like I told you before, is a standard in old fashions. Almost any bar you go to, I would venture to say 50 to 60% of the bars that you go to, they're going to give you this in an old fashioned. It's cheap, it's good. That's what it's going to be. Okay, let's pull that off the table. we're going to make an old-fashioned out of the 114 because somebody mentioned that they thought that this would be a great old-fashioned. So that's what we're going to do. Pull out the old mixing glass. I made some brand new simple syrup. This stuff, I mean, if you make your own, this does not last. It lasts maybe a week, 2 in the fridge. So every time I want simple syrup, I kind of have to make it myself. And, you know, it's good. There's nothing to it. Just, I use a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of sugar, and I get it heated up just enough to get everything dissolved, and that's that. Okay, so this is my 2. Let's do this first. Let's add a little ice to the mixing glass. Nothing to it. And we'll go ahead and do just a little bit of the syrup. And that's the thing. I mean, you make a syrup and you make a 1/4 cup of it. And you use like a tablespoon of it. You don't use very much. So if you're like me and you drink most of your stuff neat, you don't go through it very quick and it ends up going bad. I know. It's sad. So 2 ounces. Do that. Put that on. And then, oh gosh, golly, there we go. It was really in there. There we go. So just for the record, this is called an old-fashioned. If you're doing it in plural, it's old-fashioneds, right? It's not old-fashions, it's old-fashioneds. So you'll keep the D on it the whole time. All right. Add a little ice to the glass. I didn't bring my strainer down. Didn't think I would need it. I actually did. So I'll just put my finger over it, which is not a bad thing because my fingers are clean, as far as you know. If a little ice gets in there, it's not going to hurt anything. Good. And as somebody mentioned, you don't do an old-fashioned without the Luxardo cherry. So there it is. Get a little of that syrup in there. I'm a sucker for old-fashioned. I love these things. There's a city councilman from our city that I've made Manhattans for. I had to think of the name of it. Manhattans for. And he likes my Manhattans. So, all right. So cheers. Oh, yeah. I do think I like the 114 and an old-fashioned better than the bonded. Yeah. That holds up really nice. Boy, that's a nice flavor. It was a nice flavor to begin with. When it was neat, it had everything. It was complex. It was great. You put it in here, it seems like a waste of a good bourbon. But they always tell you when you're cooking, for instance, you want to use the best wines. If you wouldn't want to drink a wine, you don't want to cook with a wine. I guess the same thing could be said for a cocktail is if you wouldn't drink the bourbon, it shouldn't go in a cocktail. So this was actually pretty good. All right, so coming up, and where are we at? Oh, that's a long way back. We got to go up. That's too far. Okay. All right. Okay, so next, okay, this is going to be fun. Now, the next Bourbcast is scheduled for next Thursday, May 4th. As much as I would love to spend May the 4th be with you, I cannot. I have a previous engagement, so I have been asked to move it to May 1st, which I believe is Monday. Excuse me. So, next Monday, I'll be doing a Bourbcast, and we're going to be starting a series, hear me, a series on the Willett properties. So on May 1st, we're going to do Noah's Mill, and then we're going to follow that up with Rowan's Creek, Johnny Drum, Pure Kentucky, Old Bardstown, and then we're going to finish it out at the 8th of June with Willett Rye. So we're going to do a Willett thing. I was trying to think of the word, I couldn't think of it. So there you go. That's coming up. Starting next week, we're going to do Monday, May 1st. So we hope to see you there for, what was that, Noah's Mill. Noah's Mill next Monday right here. So I want to say thank you for coming out and for being a part of this, and for your comments. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything, because I'm sure I did. I'm terrible at this. Paul Smith, not laughing at you, but with you. I can't lie, I have done the same thing. Yeah. We need to go out for a drink sometime, Paul. I'm just saying. Type of simple syrup, just regular. So, Kevin, I did 1-to-1 on the stove. Quarter cup of syrup. Duh. Quarter cup of water, quarter cup of sugar. Just heat it up until the sugar starts to dissolve and you don't see any granulars anymore, and then it's done. You don't have to boil it. If you boil it, you've gone too far, you've ruined it, potentially. Think of it as hummingbird nectar. Hummingbird nectar. I haven't had a drink since Sunday. Cheap date. All right. You should use your ice sphere. I did. Not for this, because that's not what they call for. I love Willett. Cracked a Noah's Mill last night, so I'm excited. Okay. All right. I have not had any of them. I have not had Noah's Mill. I have not had the Willett. I have not had the Rowan's Creek. I've not had the Johnny Drum. I have not had the Bardstown. The Bardstown is available only in Kentucky. That's it. I've not had any of them. But I have them. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I cracked myself up. All right. That's good. I'm feeling good. Made brown sugar simple syrup for my old fashioned. And that's a good one to do. Demerara sugar in my neck of the woods is a little bit harder to find, but you can find it. This was not made with Demerara. This was made with white sugar because I forgot. Still really good. And most bars, truly, are going to either use simple syrup or a white sugar cube. I don't think that many of them are going to use Demerara sugar. It's just a labor of love to do that. And it is good. I've used it, and it's good. The only place around there's one place in my area that sells it. You can't get it at Walmart. You can't get it at Meijer. Just local shops will sell the Demerara. So, all right. Okay, so next week, Monday the 1st, instead of Thursday, no Thursday, Monday the 1st, we're going to start that Willett with Rowan? Noah's Mill. Noah's Mill. That starts on Monday. We will see you for that. In the meantime, you guys have a great what's left of your week. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being a part of this. It continues to grow. I don't know why. But it does. And I'm proud of it. And I'm proud of you for sticking with me. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go somewhere else and take a nap. Take care.